Immortalis is a knight in shining armor. And it's riding in, and it's going to save the sick, those who are struggling and suffering. It's going to save your loved ones from age-related diseases, from deterioration, from sinking, from end-of-life experiences. That's what immortality. So all of you are bringing immortalis to the world. And that makes you heroes. That makes you heroes. You are saving lives. So now today I have a few important updates for you. This Tuesday morning, I have with my team a meeting with officials from an Eastern European country. This will be a very interesting meeting. But first of all, I don't want any of you to worry that that's where Immortalis is going to be. I mean, I don't rule it out, but I have other plans for this Eastern European country, and this is part of some of the things I can't talk about, which I'd love to talk to you about, but I'm just not, it'd be premature to discuss them, and it would also give away some of our strategy as well. Tomorrow morning, I have a pre-meeting with someone who is very instrumental in a very successful Eastern European country. Again, I'm not going to mention the name, but he's going to be working with us in this strategy I'm developing for leveraging Immortalis. Let's just leave it at that. So that's going to be very interesting in the next 2 days, these meetings. Of course, you all know our greatest focus, however, is two countries, Argentina and America. Those are our two prominent focus right now. Those are the two countries where we're putting our focus. And then I'll just talk to you for a moment of the different approaches of these two countries. We'll be going to Buenos Aires in August for our very critical meeting there. And you all know by now, my last few talks, I've been talking about the Austrian School of Economics, that background of classical liberalism, and President Milei is very schooled in all of that, and that's where his heart and soul lies, in Austrian school, classical liberalism. So the way I would communicate with President Milei would be very different. It would be really going down sort of economist to economist, going down that path of the prime law and what that would mean and how that's bringing back all that classical liberalism into a special autonomous zone, and it's codifying and bringing a foundation to which we could build off of for the first time that non-aggression principle that was evolved and perfected by Murray Rothbard and to some degree David Friedman. And then from that discussion, as time goes on, I would obviously bring in the whole idea of what this would mean to our essence, which is the longevity industry, and bringing that, opening the doors of Immortalis to the longevity industry, which I told you before that in The Death of Death by our very own Jose Cordero, that's going to be the largest industry very soon. So we're sitting with our essence in place, ready to welcome in the world's largest industry. So that will evolve in that conversation as well. We'll begin that conversation as classical liberalism, Austrian school, libertarians, modern-day libertarians, and say what this would mean for longevity. And I happen to know through Jose Cordero that President Milei is someone who very much wants longevity and immortality, or doesn't want to die, the death of death. So that would be our angle, our approach. That will be our approach in Argentina. Now, in America, I've been cultivating a different approach. Remember last month we talked about the pivot that down in the Mount Pelerin Society, I identified this pivot that we needed in order to maximize our message, leveraging our message out there to spread, to actually get to the point where it spreads on its own. And I've developed a very leveraged breakthrough three-phase approach to this. Again, at the end of my speech last month, if you remember, I told you I'm working on something that could end run everything. I call it the end run approach, END-RUN, end run, from football, end run. You just bypass all the obstacles, go around them all. Because there are a lot of obstacles that we're dealing with. But this could be a very unique approach that no one's used before. And again, I have to keep this quiet right now. But you will learn of it when the time is right. So it's a three-phase approach. Let's see here. And the whole approach, the general approach in America is going to be the pivot that I talked about last month, where we talk about the medical and longevity industry and how we need to dominate. President Trump likes to dominate in fields. He doesn't like to get behind other countries. And it actually becomes a national security situation for America to dominate and lead the field in the longevity industry. That will involve a lot, including a lot of medical AI dynamics. We can't get behind China, for example, in this race. So the urgency, let's say if I have a sit-down meeting with President Trump, I would lean into the national security aspects of all of this. Right now, most of our pharmaceuticals come from China. That puts us in a very vulnerable state. Say if we had a conflict, So President Trump is very aware of this problem. So I would lean into that during our meeting. I will push the whole medical longevity dominating the industry, how it's becoming it's quickly becoming the world's largest industry, how America must dominate. We can't let others get ahead of us and then push America out of the picture. We need to dominate. And my end run approach is the way to dominate and dominate quickly. Those words are music to Donald Trump's ears. Dominate and dominate quickly. It's outside the box thinking. And again, I'll leave it at that. Let's see. In less than 2 weeks, I'll be presenting this three-phase approach to my friend who has ties far up into President Trump's inner circle. So I'll be presenting along with my team with Wallace and Cody and our NDA fellow. We'll be all meeting with my friend, presenting this three-phase approach. We'll see how she responds to it and what her thoughts are. That will tell us a lot. In fact, this upcoming month is the most leveraged month that we've had since launching Immortalis. It's going to be extremely leveraged. When I talk to you next, a lot will have changed. And I'm very excited to go through this month and get to that point where I can reveal some of this information to you. But it's the most leveraged by far month yet of our young Immortalis. We'll see where that meeting takes us in less than 2 weeks. And as I said, I'll let you know in our next All Citizens meeting next month. I also gave Wallace just recently the go-ahead to reach out to a lot more of my readers because I want to boost the pre-citizenship in our Immortalis from 2,100, and I want to get that up closer to 5,000. So I'm setting him on a path this month to reach out to a lot more of my readers. This next point is very interesting. We're going to launch a campaign to generate a significant number of letters of intent. In other words, we're going to approach very reputable, leading biomedical companies and explain what we're doing here with Immortalis. And we will say, if we get our zone, our special zone, will you commit to joining Immortalis? And these are leading biomedical companies. And a letter of intent is a powerful leverage at the point in time where I could sit down with someone in Trump's inner circle, if not President Trump himself, to hold a pile of letter of intents and go through them and say, this company, that company, this person, this CEO. That will bring a lot of leverage to that moment, to that meeting. So this is another thing we'll be doing this month, and we're starting that very soon. And this could be a game changer, let's put it that way. And the beautiful thing is, and Wallace said we had 2 dominoes fall, and you all understand what the domino effect is, of course. So I will just mention it here, and then I will leave it. I'm not sure if is Cody with us today? I know he said he had to travel this weekend.
He's tuning in.
Oh, good.
But I don't believe he'll be able to speak. I believe he's boarding the plane.
Okay. So
But
timing.
I'll
I'll let Wallace go into details. I'm going to just mention the 2 figures here. It's a very, very exciting. Of course, most of you have read my daily primes, so you know what I'm about to say. We have 2 legendary leaders in the longevity field. Liz Parrish of BioViva, who signed a letter of intent already. This recently happened during this month. And Bill Andrews of Sierra Sciences, he also signed a letter of intent. Now, with these 2 heavyweights, it's going to give us a lot of leverage to get a lot more LOIs very quickly, because these are 2 very trusted people. As I said, legendary, and I'll let Wallace talk. I know Cody would be the best one to go. He's the one who got these letters of intent. So let's give it up for Cody. This is very instrumental in our effort here, and he landed these, and this is fantastic, and we're going to get a lot of payoffs from this, what Cody did here. And as I said, I'm going to leave that for them to talk more about that. But that's huge. That's huge, huge news. Okay, yesterday at Frankie and Adelie's pre-wedding party, I told a lot of people there about Immortalis. Just walked around interacting, and I was the groom's father, so a lot of people were interested in who I was, what I did. I mean, there are people there I've known for a long time. There are people there who I met for the very first time. All people there were just wonderful people, by the way, wonderful people. A lot of them were my youngest son's age. A lot of them were my age. A lot of them were older. We had young, we had middle age, we had old, we had liberals, we had conservatives, we even had some libertarians, all here in this group of people. So without any sort of selection, I just went around, and as it naturally came up, I would launch an Immortalis. Instead of saying, well, I'm an author, and I've written these particular books and so on and so forth, I just talked about Immortalis. Decided just to go there and see what it'd be like in a public setting. And I'll tell you something. The words flowed out of my mouth, not because I'm an experienced speaker, but just because of what it is we're actually doing. Remember last month I told you, the closer you get to your essence, the more powerful you become, or the subject becomes, the closer you are to your essence. I gave you a couple examples of my past. Well, this is my essence, right, for the last 40, 50 years. So, and I know this is your essences too, all of you. I mean, we're soulmates on this. So, it really was just like a, how do I describe it? It's like a cool Hawaiian breeze just flowing from my mouth as I was talking about Immortalis. And the people just absorbed it and had questions. Nothing controversial. I talked to the most liberal. There were some very, very liberal people. There were some very conservative, right-wing. And there were some libertarians. And it didn't matter who I talked to. They all received this Immortalis as something being very interested in wanting to know more. And it was a very positive experience with each and every one of them. So I found that it transcends all the, I talked about before how you have this divide in our country. And I said, that's an illusion, because down deep, most people are good. But they believe in illusions because they've been, with illusion, pollution, they've been swayed to think this or to think that. And if they really knew the reality, the what is underneath it, a lot of them would be horrified at what they're supporting, because they don't realize they're supporting an illusion, not reality. They don't realize that. The beautiful thing about Immortalis is it supersedes all of that. So it makes it an effortless endeavor. In fact, I say, after that experience yesterday, I say we have a hit. Going back into my daughter's entertainment days, you know by public reaction, phone calls coming in, if something, one of your songs plays on the radio back in the day, that's pretty obsolete now, but you would know whether or not you had a hit based on public reaction. And as I was freely talking to all these different people throughout the time I was there about Immortalis, the thing that just kept going through my head is, okay, we have a hit. We really have a hit. And I want all of you to sing it. I want you to go out there and sing this hit to your friends, to your loved ones, anywhere you can. I want you just to go out and sing this hit, because it's a hit. We have a hit. And the metrics, the story of the numbers, that told me we had a hit yesterday. So I gained a lot out of that pre-wedding party, let me tell you. And by the way, one of the signs of that, Cody is very skilled at social interaction and being a social person. He's developed a great skill there. But for him to just go out and get these 2 legendary LOIs just like that, it's because he's singing the hit.
Maybe it'll help everyone to help sing this hit if you could maybe just briefly talk about how you introduced Immortalis to people and what seemed to respond well.
Sure. Yeah. Did everyone hear what Wallace just said? Okay, I'm seeing nodding heads. Good. Okay. I simply used the pivot that we talked about last month. I simply used the pivot. I talked about, think about it. What is Immortalis really doing? This is not necessarily what I said, but I'm just saying, what is Immortalis doing? Immortalis is a knight in shining armor. And it's riding in, and it's going to save the sick those who are struggling and suffering. It's going to save your loved ones from age-related diseases, from deterioration, from sinking, from end-of-life experiences. That's what immortality. So all of you are bringing immortalis to the world. And that makes you heroes. That makes you heroes. You are saving lives. So when I talk, with that in the back of my mind, when I talk to people about immortalis, I start off saying, well, I'm very focused on opening a special autonomous zone. I want to open up a zone for the medical industry and the longevity industry. And I want that zone to be free or have much restricted regulations that hold back progress. And you know, the people are surprisingly educated on that now. They're educated on how regulations stop and hold things back. It's surprising. Again, liberal, young, middle-aged, old, conservative, libertarian, they all know that. I'm looking for a zone, an autonomous zone, that reduces the regulations and the taxation to welcome longevity and medical companies and biomedical companies to get in there and move more rapidly on curing diseases, devastating diseases that are age-related, anything from Alzheimer's, depression, cancer, heart disease, even aging itself. And you start, and everyone just says, like I said, it's a hit. They said, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Wow, tell me more. And there was a female doctor who owns a medical practice there, and as she overheard me talking to someone else, she came over and said, where is Immortalis going to be? I'm going to move my practice there as soon as it's available, right? And that was not just because she knew me or anything like that, or that I was the father or the groom. It's she wants to be in Immortalis for her practice. It's a hit, and I want all of you to sing it proudly and loudly. It's a hit. Let me see if I had any more notes about that one. Yes. So that, I think that covers it. This is going to be, gosh, it's going to be a real pivotal month here. I'm very much looking forward to this. Of course, I carry a lot of, I don't know the right word for it. It's not anxiety, but it's this sense that we better not fail. I better do this right because we have one shot at this. And I believe with my end run approach, we could be doing something quite amazing very quickly. But we have to wait and see. And that's the part of me that I haven't thought of the word to describe this, but it's just we can't fail. We have to succeed. It's like, let's just whip up an analogy. If let's say one of your loved ones was going to fall off a cliff, and you have to do everything perfectly to pull the rope, to secure it, to get up. You better not fail, or you lose that person. That's what I feel going into this month. We better not fail. We have one shot at this. I think it's a great shot. We have a hit. I want to get this hit into the upper circles of the administration so we can act on this. Understanding what I just said about we can't fail, I'm going to remind all of you that I've turned my focus largely to Immortalis now. Just too much at stake. But what that also means is I have turned away a lot from my publishing company. Immortalis does need funding. This is going to become very important as we grow this movement. I would like for each of you, because you're all committed to this, and I know a number of you have already done this. And last month, a lot of you committed to a monthly donation. I feel that most of us here can afford $29 a month, I feel, most of us here. And if you can't, that's fine. But if you can, that would be very helpful to our goal. And remember, this is all tax exempt. It's a tax exempt entity, Immortalis, so it's all tax deductible. Some of you can afford more. Whatever you can afford comfortably on a monthly basis would be very helpful to Immortalis, because we're starting to rack up a lot of expenses. And as I wrote here in my notes, your contributions, monthly contributions, will make a huge difference. So I'm going to ask you, Wallace, to set up something today like you did last month, so contributions can easily be made. And I thank you all very, very deeply for your contributions, because that really makes a difference. It really does. And, I mean, this is it. This is it. This is the most important journey, that I can see that humankind has ever experienced. It's our greatest responsibility to cure aging and death, at least to bring the choice to people. And in the process, mop up, if you will, all of these age-related diseases. Get rid of those so we can live with excitement and joy and feeling good with energy and value creation. And by the way, a number that Cody sent me was, during his research, he found that every year of life extension, it's not a drain on society. It's quite the opposite. It contributes, if you monetize it or apply those metrics, it contributes, I think it was $38 or $39 trillion per year for every year of life extension. And now imagine, too, our life extension is not going to be like extending people who are in, in bad shape or in expensive hospital beds or what have you. It's going to revive all of those people to be young and energetic again and be able to create values again and contribute to society and that beautiful ecosystem. Contribution, happiness. Contribution, happiness. So let's all lean into this. I'm pouring tens of thousands of dollars into Immortalis and shifting my attention from my business to Immortalis for major monetary losses to me. But my attention in Immortalis, I think, is the most important thing I can do. This is the most important project for my NeoThink family, for all of you. So this is where I'm going now. I hope you join me in supporting Immortalis. And like I said, I very deeply appreciate that from deep within. Okay, let's see. Like I said earlier, this next month is highly, highly leveraged. It's going to be an exciting meeting 1 month from now. I can't wait. I can't wait to go through all of this and then report to you what's happening. Can't wait. So, yeah, I want to thank you for being here. This is it. This is Immortalis. You are immortals. This is our journey together. Like I said here, you are alive. You're alive and an important piece to the journey. The super puzzle, right? The super puzzle. Thank you, everyone. Love talking to you today. Appreciate all of that. Thank you. Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, Juanita. Thank you, Arlene, Larry, Aaron, Alicia, Yeah, I said Juanita, didn't I? Yeah, I said Juanita. Wallace is pointing, don't forget Juanita. I said her already. But I'll say her again, Juanita, Jerry, Matthew, all of you, Michael, Pam, Peggy Sue. All right, I'm going to read off some more here. Scarlett. Hey, Joe. Bill Hunsicker. Wow. It's been a while. Nice to see you here, Bill. Hi, Edwin. Joseph. Gabriel. Hi, Gabriel. Wonderful. Well, I better sign out now. There's too many to go through all of them, but it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful day. Wonderful day today and yesterday. Love you all. See you next month.